Hi everyone, my name's Joe Damsky, and today I'm going to be doing a brief demonstration on an exciting AI tool called NotebookLM. So just a little bit of brief background. NotebookLM is an AI tool that uses Google Gemini to create review resources for you and for your students to use in the classroom. So for the purposes of this demonstration, this is going to be a resource that I will be using with my 5th grade students. It can really be used for any subject area, but for today's demonstration, I'm actually going to use it to teach you how to play chess. And in fact, I'm going to teach you how to use my favorite opening, the Caro-Kann defense. What NotebookLM does is you provide it with some resources and it will compile all of those resources, and you can generate different review resources. Like you can create a video, a podcast, you can do a concept map, you can generate flashcards, even a quiz, and a full concept explainer for you to be able to use to review the most important details of the text. So as my base, I actually took a few excerpts from my own personal copy of International Master Jeremy Silman's book, The Complete Book of Chess Strategy, Grandmaster Techniques from A to Z. I actually photocopied those excerpts from the book, and we will use those PDFs as our base. So here is NotebookLM. When you open NotebookLM, you'll be prompted to generate a new notebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload my files here. So I'm going to drag and drop both chess notation and the Caro-Kann defense right here into the box. And as you can see, it's already generating and reading these PDFs. And check it out. It's already named the notebook. It's titling it as Silman's Primer on Chess Notation. I can change this and call it How to Play the Caro-Kann Defense. I've included the chess notation PDF in there just as a way to help guide the AI tool to better provide more information about it is explaining. So I'm also going to add in some of my YouTube links of YouTube videos. So I'm going to go ahead and click add. And so as you can see, you can also include files from your Google Drive and your Google Workspace. You can provide links to websites and YouTube videos, and you can even directly copy and paste text. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste these YouTube links. Give me one moment. All right, so this is the 4th YouTube link that I'm inserting. So once you have each link that you want to insert into your notebook, you just click insert, and it will automatically detect that it is a YouTube video link. You can tell what type of file it is based off of this little icon on the left. So the Caro-Kann defense PDF and the chess notation PDF that I scanned in is coming up as a PDF. And then the top 10 chess tips, how to play chess, learn Caro-Kann defense in 10 minutes, and learn Caro-Kann in 15 minutes also are all listed. So as you can see in the center panel here, there's a chat for everything that you are using, so you can use it to generate notes, video overviews, audio overviews, a mind map, and you can even prompt it to give more information about the fundamentals. Like as you can see, it's prompting me, how do fundamental opening principles relate to specific Caro-Kann variations and plans? If you click that, it will prompt the chat to spit out some information about it. Let's see how it looks. And in just a brief moment, it literally spit out tons of information that it aggregated from all of these sources. Now, obviously, the more sources you have, the more precise the information is going to be. So that just goes to show like how quickly this information is at the fingertips of our students. What I'm going to now do for you is generate an audio overview, a video overview, a mind map, some flashcards, a quiz, and a report, specifically a concept explainer. Each of these resources take a little while to generate, but the resources are very helpful. Look here, I can even generate a strategic guidebook. So I'm going to generate a strategic guidebook as well as a concept explainer. So as you can see, all of my resources are being used to generate these learning resources. But if you wanted to fine tune what kind of resource you're using, like if I only wanted to know about chess notation, or if I only wanted to know the basics of how to play chess, I would highlight and check off only the resources that I wanted to. So let's say if I just wanted to know beginner chess moves that everyone should know, I would only highlight maybe just these two resources and possibly the chess notation. If I only want information to be generated about the Caro-Kann defense, I would only highlight and check off my resources on Caro-Kann defense. If I want to have an overarching resource, I'll use all of the resources that I have. So this can be good for generating, different types of resources for like review for, say you doing a review on a social studies topic, but you only want to focus in on chapter 3. You can upload all of the information and resources for chapter 3 and it will only use chapter 3. But if you want to have a full unit review, you obviously have to have all of your resources highlighted for that. But it's really cool, and a lot of the stuff generates very quickly. As you can see, my chess flashcards are done, my chess quiz is done, my beginner chess concepts and strategy mind map is done. So we'll go through and explore some of these resources as the rest are finishing up. It looks like my beginner's guide to chess tactics is finished. So let's check out our mind map here. So as you can see, we have a little mind map. It lists out beginner chess strategies and concepts. It's got a section for opening principles and rules. And as you click and interact, it will open up different branches of the tree here. And if you want more information on a particular thing, like if I want to know how to safely castle my king, I will just click directly onto this link and it will then prompt the chat to tell me what these resources are saying about safely castling my king. And like magic, here it is, everything you need to know about castling your king, right? And especially since it's using my Caro-Kann references, it's also providing you with how to do it while using the Caro-Kann defense. This is awesome. I love this. We can also take a look at our chess flashcards. It's going to ask questions like, what is the primary goal at the beginning of the chess game regarding pawns? You can click and it will tell you to set one of your pawns to one of the 4 center squares, either d4, e4, d5, or e5. And you can even ask it to explain the flashcard. Say, hey, you click here, and it will give a full breakdown of everything you need to know. It looks like our audio overview and our video overview are still generating, but we also have our beginner's guide to chess tactics and our strategic guidebook to the Caro-Kann defense have already been generated. So let's take a look at our beginner's guide to chess tactics. It gives a full breakdown of all of the beginning tactics that you would need to know to be able to play chess. Now, obviously, with something like chess, it can be very overwhelming, but as you can see, this is a very helpful resource for somebody that wants to play chess or learn how to play chess, and I can only imagine all of the interesting ways that this can be utilized for different ways to review content in school. Here's our guidebook for the Caro-Kann defense. And again, it fully breaks down how to play the Caro-Kann defense, some of its strengths and weaknesses, and things of that nature. So while those other resources continue to generate, let's talk about some of the questions that I have here for my assignment. How are educators using AI in the classroom? Well, for me personally, I'm using AI in a very similar way that I've just described to you. I use NotebookLM with my students. Specifically, we use it for our social studies instruction because for our 5th grade students, many of our 5th grade students are not currently reading on grade level. So we want to provide them with as many helpful resources for them to be able to access the material. Other ways that I've used AI in the classroom is by using it as a text leveler. Again, specifically with our social studies curriculum, in 5th grade, we are actually using a middle school level text. So what we've been able to do is take screenshots and PDFs of the text files, uploading it into a text leveler, and prompting the text leveler to level down to grade level or maybe even a little bit below, just so that way it's more accessible to a wider range of students. Other ways that AI can be used in the classroom, I've actually seen in our reading program here, Benchmark now has an auto grader, so it will actually read through your students' open-ended responses and make a recommendation based off of the quality of the writing response. Now, obviously, you can go back and you can veto it, you can override the recommendation, but this is a fantastic time-saving tool that we have available to us. So that kind of leads me into the second question. What are some of the benefits that AI has for educators and students? Well, obviously for educators, it's the time-saving aspect. Long gone are the days where you are compiling all of these resources to then stitch them together into a presentation. AI is now doing that for us. So now that way we can focus more on interacting with our students and differentiating for our students. These tools can be used for differentiation as well. And the benefits don't stop at educators. There's benefits for students because in the last 3 class periods when we were doing our social studies teaching, my students were fully engaged. The content was accessible to them. They really enjoyed watching the generated videos, and I felt it made the content more meaningful to them because then they could sit down and explore the content at their own pace. There's nothing like it. And finally, some of the challenges and ethical considerations that we need to use when using AI in the classroom. Obviously, the white elephant in the room is there's always concern that there's going to be cheating. As far as I'm concerned, the best way to counter that is by adequately teaching your students how to ethically use AI. Obviously, if they're taking their prompt provided in the question or the assignment into something like ChatGPT and then having it spit out an answer, they copy and paste that answer and then they turn in that as their own work. Obviously, that's plagiarism. There's no question about it. The way that I would recommend that we teach our students how to ethically use AI is to use it as a jumping off point, right? You can use it as a way to research and find resources, but at the end of the day, you have to know what resources you're using in your assignments. So you have to go back in and read through your resources, check to make sure all of the information is kosher. In discussing things with some colleagues, I've also heard some express the concerns that AI is generative. So like it is taking information from copyrighted materials, like say, for example, my book here by Jeremy Silman, and it's not necessarily citing it. It's not teaching the kids how to cite that information. In fact, me posting this video to YouTube as a way to present it to the wider audience is, again, kind of a moral gray area with the way that we are using resources. I am certain that it's falling under fair use, as this is my own personal copy and I'm using it in a transformative way. But there's always going to be that gray area, so we have to remember how to try our best to think ethically about how we are using this tool, because I like to compare the use of AI tools as like using a calculator to help you do math. You have to know the fundamentals and the basics before you really start to spring off and use those tools to help you. If you are solely using a calculator to help you do your basic computation, then you are not truly learning. Just like if you are solely using AI to help you complete assignments and reach your goals, you're not really truly understanding and learning the information. So with that, those are my thoughts on the 3 questions that we had to discuss. Let's check back in on our resources and see if they're finished generating. Mind you, this is a video complete AI generated. It's using all of the resources that we were given, and it made a video summary on how to play your first game of chess. And it's only 7 minutes long.
Ever wondered what's really going on inside a chess player's head? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain. This isn't just about how the pieces move, no. We're going to walk you through the entire thinking process, from your very first move all the way to your first sweet victory.
So are you ready to get started? It doesn't matter if you've never touched a piece before or if you're just looking to get a little sharper. It's time to make your move.
Think of this as your own personal walkthrough. We're going to cover everything. Setting up the board, those all-important first 10 moves, how to win the battles in the middle, and of course, how to close out the game. Let's do this.
Okay, first things first. Every great battle needs a battlefield and an army, right? In chess, that's your board and your pieces. So let's get to know our tools.
So the board itself is just an 8x8 grid, 64 squares. And to talk about it like a pro, we use something called algebraic notation.
So this is something that I was completely caught off guard with. I had never seen NotebookLM utilize my PDFs quite like this. It actually literally took the PDFs that I'd scanned and inserted it into the video to help it know what to say. That's incredible. Now, obviously, it's not perfect because it's listing the same PDF twice, but you get the point. It is utilizing the resources in a constructive way. It's not necessarily about what's on the screen. It's what the video is talking about. All right. And now let's go ahead and hop into our podcast just so that way you can hear what it sounds like. It is going to be a little bit uncanny valley, but once you get past it, it's actually kind of cool.
Let's dive into that specific opening you mentioned. The Caro-Kann defense. What's the big idea?
So white starts 1, e4, the most common opening move. Black replies 1 c6. The very next move is almost always 2 d5.
Okay, c6 then d5. What's the philosophy?
It's fundamentally solid. Black prepares to challenge white's e4 pawn with d5, but by playing c6 first, they support the d5 push with a pawn, not a piece. It leads to very sound structures.
And it avoids weaknesses like that early x7 attack.
Exactly. It keeps things calmer initially. The downside sometimes is that black can be a bit passive or lack space compared to more aggressive defenses.
So you can see how these resources kind of coalesce together to create something. I can't come up with a better word other than magical. You know, it's taking all of these resources and in an imperfect way providing you with the information that gives you the important stuff. There's more ways to customize your resources. Like you can click these little pencil buttons here next to each of these 4 resources, and you can dictate what you want it to do. So for the podcast deep dive audio overview thing, you can set it up as a deep dive, a brief video, a critique if you want, or even a thoughtful debate. And you can choose the different types of languages, and that's really cool. I like that you can now take this information and make it Spanish for your Spanish-speaking students. You can dictate the length if you want it. The default length, podcasts usually range from anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, I've seen, but you can make them shorter or even longer. And you can even tell it what you want the AI host to focus on. So if you listen to the full podcast, for about the first 11 and a half minutes or so, they do talk about the basics of chess. But if you wanted to spend more time talking about the theory about the Caro-Kann defense, you can tell it spend a little time on the opening moves and the basics, and then spend a majority of the time talking about the Caro-Kann defense. Or with the video overview, you can make it an explainer or keep it as a brief core ideas thing. Again, you can change the language. So if you have a student that speaks French, you can set it to French. You can also choose a visual style, like it has the auto select where it kind of picks for you. Like our video was in the whiteboard style. But if you have a student that really is into anime, you can generate an anime style video and keep it that way. My closing thoughts here on NotebookLM are, it is a tool. It is a tool that is imperfect, but it is something that you can utilize with your students to really hammer home core concepts and review, and even use it as a teaching tool to keep your students engaged. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me by email. I'll put my email in the description of the video, and I will try and keep in touch with you that way. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough on how to generate a notebook LM using PDFs and YouTube videos. I will see you in the next one. Bye.